Well, thank you very much, Castle Rock High Noon Rotary Club, for inviting me to be here. Who wants to have a more successful business? Yeah. Who wants to have a more successful Rotary Club? All right. I'm going to share some things with you. Now, here I am, 15 years old. I am watching, at 15, I was watching the 1968 Olympics in Watertown, South Dakota. And I saw those games, and I saw what the coaches did before for the USA team to be successful. And what they did before was they had the Olympians train at Lake Tahoe a year before the games. What's the significance about that? The altitude. The altitude is the same at Lake Tahoe as Mexico City. So when our athletes went to the Olympics, they were trained to be successful. And I thought, these guys are geniuses. And I thought, I'm going to be on that team. And I'm going to be a sub 4 minute miler. And I told my friends in Watertown that, my high school friends, hey guys, I'm going to train for the Olympic team. And they'd all laugh and yeah, sure, Steve. First of all, you live in Watertown, South Dakota, and you've got to train every day to be an Olympian. I said, I know that. I'm going to do that. But secondly, Steve, you're slow. And I said, I know that too. So that was my plan. So at 15, you see a picture of me. Here I am, a freshman. Look at that. Here I am 2 years later. Yikes. Okay? I trained twice a day, pretty much every day, for 2 years. And I was improving tremendously. Now, you know what's interesting that year, my junior year? I lost every race. I lost every race until a sophomore from Madison, South Dakota, Jeff Schemmel, said, you know what? I'm going to break 4:10 in the mile at the state meet. Now, Jeff was running, 4:17. I was running low 4:20s. And I looked at that and I said, you know what? There is no way he is going to break 4:10. You don't go from 4:17 to 4:10 in 1 week. And I thought to myself, what's the best I can do? I could do 4:16. And then I started planning. I would be the first lap. I broke it down into, every lap. I would be 64 seconds a lap. And I visualized the perfect race, the perfect performance. And then I would cross the finish line, winning the state meet, setting a state record. So you want to know what really happened? Here's what really happened. The gun went off, and Jeff Schemmel took off incredibly fast. Listen to these splits. 58, 59 seconds. He's on sub 4 minute mile pace, a sophomore in high school. And here's my split. 64, 60. I'm right on pace. 65. Next lap comes by. Jeff Schemmel. 202. Steve Heidenreich. 208. I'm right on pace. I'm right on pace. He's 60 yards ahead of me. The fans think, oh my gosh, he's going to set some kind of crazy record. Next lap comes by. Oh, he's only 20 yards ahead of me. 3:12, and I'm right on pace. And I got in the middle of the first curve, and I passed him. And once I passed him, he just broke down almost to a walk. And I won. My teammate was second, and I ran 4:16 and set the state record. I learned the power of visualization. When you're a salesman, just think about visualizing the perfect sale. visualizing the perfect customer satisfaction and then making it happen. You know, the good thing about visualizing, there's no physical effort. The effort is up here. And there's many athletes and businessmen who do that, who use visualization as a tool. Okay, so here I am. This is my sophomore year. I'm at Indiana University, and what I learned, what I did when I was a freshman after watching those Olympics, was I did research on the greatest distance runners in the world. And the greatest distance runners, Jim Ryan, here in the United States. I got his book, and I saw his training. And he was my model. And that's what I did. Right behind him, Marty LaCouri, another great miler. We had some great milers at that time. But what I found out, this is the Big Ten Championship, and it was my worst race of the season. I finished third in the Big Ten. But look at Coach. Look at Coach Bell. Coach Bell's happy. You know what? He knows I gave the best for that day. And he doesn't care that I didn't do as well as I wanted to do, because I wanted to win. Because I visualized winning every race. But what he did was he persistently praised the team. You know, one thing with Coach Bell, for every criticism we would get, we probably have about 20 praises ahead. Hey, Steve, great practice. Way to go. Steve, hey, I got the report on your grades from the professors. Hey, you got a strong B average. Keep it up. Okay? Can you imagine if you did that in your workplace to your employees? Catch them doing something good and let them know. It's very powerful. The big thing that I found was you have to be persistent. You've got to just keep at reaching your goals. Okay, all right. Now, what's the magic number? Yeah, who said that? 4. Richard, the magic number is 4. The magic number was 4. And what does that mean? My junior year in college, I decided not only was I going to break 4 minutes in the mile, I was going to get a 4.0 GPA at Indiana University. And that was my plan. And so what I did was I applied the traits and characteristics of athletics, of being an Olympian, towards the academic arena. And what do you think happened? My grades started getting better. They got better. And I learned that by doing that, the hard work that the Olympians do, if you apply that to your business or to whatever your passion is, you will be successful. Now here, you're looking at my first sub 4 minute mile race, and in front is Nick Rose. Nick Rose is from England. He was the national cross-country champion. And I visualized breaking 4 minutes in this race. But what Nick did, he visualized winning the race. And what he did was he had his teammate be a rabbit. He had his teammate run the first lap in 57 seconds. And where's Steve? 59, 2 flat. I'm right on pace. They're 30 yards ahead. Nick stayed right behind him. They do another lap. 157. They're still 30 yards ahead. And I'm right at 2 flat. And then their runner, their rabbit, dropped out. Oh, dropped off the track. Was I mad? I was in fear. I said, I've been set up. And I almost caught Nick. You can see here, I'm behind maybe a half second. But that was my first sub 4 minute mile. And after that year, I ran 8 sub 4 minute miles. And I was hot. I was on. At the national championship in Provo, Utah, actually we came here to Colorado, and we trained for 2 weeks at Colorado State to get ready for the national championship. And that helped me. In the national championship, I finished 4th, but I was the second American. And so I was going to summer school at Indiana University, and I rode my bike home, and on the door was, "Congratulations, Steve. You have made the USA track team. You are to fly to Russia tomorrow." And I'm going to summer school. I'm taking classes. I'm in a 6-week intensive semester. I call my professor, "Hey, Dr. Jones, hey, listen, hey, this is Steve Heidenreich, and I'm going to miss 2 weeks of your class." "Yes, sir, I know I'm going to miss the midterm." "Yes, sir, I know on the syllabus says if I don't take the midterm, I get a 0. "Yes, sir, you know what, sir? I'm going to take my books, I'm going to study, and I'm going to pass your class." The next day, I took a cab to the Indianapolis airport. I went up to the counter, and I said, "Excuse me, my name is Steve Heidenreich, and I'm supposed to fly to Russia." "Oh, yes, Mr. Heidenreich. We have been waiting for me." And they go behind the counter, and they pick up this big red, white, and blue Team USA bag. "Here's all the things you need to run on our team." I flew to New York, stayed overnight one night there, and went to a place where they gave passports. Went up to the counter, and I said, "You know what? I'm Steve Heidenreich, and I'm supposed to fly to Russia." "Oh, yes, Mr. Heidenreich, do you have a driver's license? Can we see your driver's license?" "Oh, yes, go over there, we're going to take your picture." 15 minutes later, I had visa and passport to fly to Russia. I flew to Russia, and I started visualizing winning the perfect performance. I got to go, actually, I flew to Cologne and then to West Berlin, and I went through the wall. I went through the wall, and the guards inspected my bags. They said, "Heidenreich, you got 2 blue jeans, you got cologne. You better come out with 2 blue jeans or cologne, or we have a special place for you." And I just said, "Yes, sir." The next day, I flew to Moscow, and then following to Kiev. I had 5 hours of sleep, and I finished my first race on the USA team in 2nd place. I lost to my teammate, Ken Popejoy, and we were started. We were 1-2, and that put the United States team in the lead. The next day, we were on the front page. We were on the front page of the newspaper, being 1st and 2nd. And we decided we were going to go to the Macy's of Russia. And we go into the Macy's of Russia, and we're looking at these, "Hey, look at those fur hats, Ken." "Hey, yeah, Steve, I like those. Hey, let's try them on." So we're trying on these fur hats, looking pretty cool, pretty suave, and the Russians were laughing at us. And this boy comes up to us and says, "Hey guys, you're in the ladies department." So then I got to compete against the Kenyans. I ran the USA versus Africa meet, where I defeated the Kenyans by running my last lap in 54 seconds. And the Cleveland crowd got on their feet and just went nuts. USA, USA. It was a great experience. This is my senior year now. This is the national championship for indoor track. That year I ran 4 flat indoors in the mile, which is probably equivalent to a 3:55 outdoor mile. And you see here, I'm going to go into the lead to pass to win the national championship. But I went around the corner, and all of a sudden I felt an arm hitting my back. And I got pushed off the track. And I went from first place to last place. And I lost my national championship. You know, things happen. Things happen. A few months before the Olympic Games, I'm facing traffic. I'm running on the left-hand side of the road. I've got my USA uniform on. I'm proud to be training for the Olympics. I'm going up a hill, and all of a sudden I hear a roaring of a car. And a car comes over from the right-hand side and hits me from behind. And I fly over the car, and my head slams against the concrete, and my skull splits, and my jaw breaks, and I'm left to die. A few seconds later, another car drives out. He sees the body, not sure if it's a drunk. And then he sees the blood pouring out of my head. And all of a sudden, he's in a helicopter. He's going over rice paddies. And he knows exactly what he's got to do. Stops his vehicle, pulls out his winter coat, covers me up, treats me for shock. Yes, he was an EMT in the military. He was an EMT in Vietnam, and that's the only thing he knew how to do. That was his gift. He waved down the next car. Go 2 blocks north. Call 911. This soldier has been seriously injured. I'm rushed to the hospital. Dr. Rack comes in. Dr. Rack is 6'8". He's my neurosurgeon. I grab him by the shirt and I said, "Help me. Please help me." And then I went out. I went way out. I traveled through the valley of death, but I was not afraid. Dr. Rack removed part of my skull to let the brain swell, and then he did brain surgery on me. Dr. Rack finished high school in 18, started medical school at 19. Dr. Rack, after doing brain surgery, told my parents I had a 5% chance to live, and if I lived, most likely I would be vegetative. I would not be expected to complete college or to compete again as a runner. Two weeks after the head injury, I woke up. The mental age of a 2-year-old in a 22-year-old body. One week of physical therapy in the hospital, learning how to go to the bathroom, put on my clothes. I went home to my hometown in Watertown, South Dakota, where my mother quit her job, and she was my nurse, teacher, mother, 24/7. She was a special ed teaching assistant. And I had to learn, I had to grow up again. We would go for walks, and I would say, "Hey, Mom, what's that?" "Well, Steve, that's a tree." "Mom, what's that machine?" "That's a car." And it's not that I didn't know what things were. I knew what they were, but I couldn't find the word. And so my brain was rewiring. 1 month later, I'm reading Dick and Jane books. Remember Dick and Jane books? First grade, right? In June, I'm reading Charlotte's Web. People are praying all around the world. And I am healing rapidly. And by August, I'm 13 again. Yeah, and remember being 13? Did you know it all in 13? Who did not know it all when they were 13? You know? I decided I got to leave home. I'm going back to college to make up my incompletes. So I go to Indiana University, and I start taking my classes, senior level business classes at the Indiana University, and I realized after 2 weeks, I'm in a world of hurt. I'm in trouble because I've got to relearn that vocabulary. Accounting, economics, marketing, finance. I call up Dr. Rack. Dr. Rack, hey, Steve Heidenreich here. Yeah, listen, this college is a little harder than I thought. I don't know if I can make it. Well, Stephen, I think what you got to do is you need to go talk to Dr. Rose. Dr. Rose is the Indiana University school psychologist. You go see him, and you decide what you need to do. I go see Dr. Rose. Dr. Rose gives me a verbal IQ test. He's very blunt. He says, Stephen, here's the deal. You're going to suffer. This is going to be painful. It is going to be the hardest thing you ever have to do. But you can do it. You can do it. You have the skills to do it. And I just said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I took all my traits and characteristics of being a great athlete, and I applied it to academics. And I studied so hard. You know what? I kind of cheated. Because I didn't study just once. I did my homework 3 times. I did it before the lecture, then I'd take notes, and then I would redo the homework after the lecture. I'd get a little better. And then finally, I would do it before the test. And then every week, I would meet with my teachers. And Indiana University Athletic Department stepped up and said, you know what, Stephen? We know you're having trouble. I understand. We know you don't have a scholarship anymore. But we're going to help you. We're going to provide you with a tutor Monday through Thursday from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at no charge. And I took advantage of that. And my grades turned to A's and B's, and I finished with a 3.58. Here you see I'm leaving the hospital here. You can kind of see my scar where Dr. Rack cut. So after the act, I set my goals high. I was going to still get a 4.0. Did I get a 4.0? No. You know, I got a 3.58. 13 months after the accident, I ran the mile in 4:21 and won the race. I trained for the 1980 Olympics. And your goals can be met. You know, if you want to be a more successful business, set high goals. If you want to have a more successful club, you know what? Go out there. You work on it. Be patient. Work hard. Are there any questions? You guys have any questions? We have time.